Good afternoon and welcome to our Odoo webinar. Today we're going to be talking about how Odoo enhances Australian trading and wholesale operations. I'm Nash, I'm going to be our host for today's webinar. As you can see, I'm one of Odoo's direct sales executives. I've been with Odoo for almost 12 months now, working with multiple wholesale and distribution businesses, so I've got a little bit of background in what we're going to be discussing today. A little bit of an agenda of what we're going to run through is first we're going to cover a little bit about Odoo itself, exploring what it is that we do and how we can help your business. Then from there, we're going to jump into a case study where we're going to work together in a demonstration to figure out how Odoo can help your business. Then we're going to have our demo and we've got some time for questions at the end. Now, a little bit about Odoo. As you can see here, Odoo itself is an all-in-one management software or ERP. Now, Odoo itself is a global company that we were founded in Belgium roughly 20 years ago. As you can see, since then, we've grown quite a lot, having over 20 offices worldwide and over 8,000 employees globally. I'm based out of our Gold Coast office, as you can see in the right-hand side, in Australia at the moment. Now, you might be wondering how exactly Odoo can help your business, and that's what we're going to find out today. Now, as we can see on the left-hand side of our screen here, this is what a lot of businesses day-to-day are using at the moment, whether that's a stack of maybe a handful of softwares ranging all the way up to a full stack of multiple. Now we can see from the diagram, it looks a little bit clunky and messy, and if we compare that to something like Odoo being an all-in-one solution on the right-hand side, we can see it looks a lot nicer and a lot more easy to flow. As we can see here, we've got a few examples of the different apps and operations within Odoo. Since we're going to be focusing on wholesale and distribution today, some of the main apps we're going to be focusing on are things like our contacts, CRM, sales, inventory and purchase modules, and maybe some extras if we have some time. Now, let's jump into Odoo 19 and have a look at our demo. So today we're the founder of Colourful Beauty Wholesale, and our mission is to digitize the business with an all-in-one solution. Now, Colourful Beauty itself is an Australian cosmetics wholesaler, and we specialise in professional-grade beauty assets for trade accounts and direct consumers. So as you can see, we offer things from professional hair care to colour and bleach, skincare, and even salon accessories. Our current target market is B2B channels, including pharmacies, chemists, hair salons, barbershops, as well as a small range of B2C customers. Currently, my business is operated via a primary warehouse, supported by a very small internal team. Some of the current challenges I'm facing within this business are things like pricing bottlenecks, order chaos, no real overview of my inventory, very reactive purchasing, no self-service portal for my customers, cash flow lags, and a lack of live reporting. With all of that in mind, let's jump into our demo and see how Odoo can help me solve it. Here we have our Odoo database, and whenever we log into Odoo, this is going to be the first thing I see. So as a business owner logging in, the first thing I'm going to notice are all my different Odoo applications. But there's a bit more information we can get from this home screen here. In the top right-hand corner, we've got my user icon there, which can do things like show me my preferences, the databases I have access to, and even manage my subscription, as well as set my status. So people within my team know if I'm online and available, away from my desk, or potentially on Do Not Disturb if I'm in a meeting. I've got the name of my business, and next to that is our Odoo Studio tool, which is our no-code customization tool. And next to that is my activity overview. So clicking on this one gives me a great overview of what I have to do today, in the future, and may of what I've forgotten to do previously. Next to that is our discuss. So this could be comparable to something like your Teams or Slack for all our internal and team communications. As we can see here, it's also good for things like internal notifications from the database as well. Last but not least, one of the newest features with Odoo 19 is our Odoo AI that we'll showcase a little bit later. Now, before we jump into any applications, the first thing I want to do is actually customize my homepage because that's how easy and customizable Odoo is to use. So I know one of the apps I'm going to use quite a bit is my inventory application. So I'm just going to go ahead and click and hold on that one until it goes to the side, and then I can drag and drop it to wherever I want it to be within my database. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our contacts module, and we can see here that by default, Odoo presents me with our list view. Now the list view is great for giving me all the information I need at a glance. However, if this isn't what you're tailored to, we do have multiple view options available in the top right hand side, as you can see, ranging from things like our Kanban, a map view, hierarchy, and activity view as well. Now, if we click into one of our contacts here, let's take Alyssa as an example. Odoo is going to give me quite a bit of information right here on this screen. I can see things like the company she's from, her contact details, as well as the address. And I can also fill in things like her job position, if they have their own website, as well as tags and the ABN as well. One other thing you'll notice here is on our right hand side, we have what's called the Odoo chatter. The chatter is really handy for things like communicating with our customers, and not only that, but being able to track changes made. So for example, if I go ahead and change Alyssa's email here and save this, we'll notice that that populates in the chatter on the right hand side, showing what was previously there, what is there now, who made the change, and when it was made. Another key feature we have within our contacts module is on our tabs down the bottom here. If we go ahead and click on our sales and purchase tab, this is where we can set customer specific rules. So this could be for something like a price list that might apply. For example, we have our salon and barbershop here, and we'll see how that price list affects our customer very soon. And then we have our default payment terms. So as we'll see shortly, this is going to carry across for our customer throughout every application within Odoo. Last but not least, we have what's referred to as our Odoo smart buttons at the top. Now, these smart buttons are going to be the quickest and easiest way to jump from application to application within Odoo while retaining your step-by-step process. We can see linked things like my opportunities within my CRM, the sales that this customer has made, what I've invoiced this customer, and more. Now, without further ado, let's jump into our CRM and have a look at what a bit of a workflow looks like. Jumping into my CRM module, the first thing you notice is Odoo presents us in our Kanban view. Now, this view is great for giving us all the information at a glance. It's one I personally use day to day, and one of my favorite features about it is the colors that we can see. Now, there is meaning behind these colors, and they are directly linked to our activities. So anything that is red means that it is overdue, anything orange means that it's due today, and anything green means it's due in the future. Now, for example, if I go ahead and click on an opportunity, it's going to give me lots of information. I can see things like my notes, so I can see one of my colleagues, Nico, here has left some notes for me, and I can even see that he's used our chatter here to internally communicate with me, asking me if I can handle this one, which I definitely can. Jumping back to our pipeline here, I can see in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen that I've actually got a message. So if I go ahead and click on this one, it's going to go ahead and open it up for me, and I can see that Nico's asked me not forget to reach out to Alyssa to get their order sorted. That's awesome. So I'm just going to go ahead and thank him, and then we can take a look at it. Perfect. So I can see Alyssa's order here in the top left as it's flagged by the 3-star priority. Clicking into the opportunity here, I can see that some details have already been pre-filled, such as the customer and company, as well as their contact details. I can also see that it is also tagged based on where my lead came from, whether that be via a phone call that was had, an email that was sent in, or that they've come from something like a marketing campaign or our website. I can see within the notes field that Alyssa has called and asked to place another order because their shop is running low. That's all well and good for me, but I'm not sure what they previously ordered, so we need to go ahead and confirm that. And what I'm going to do is set an activity for myself to do that. Up in the top right-hand side, we have our activity button, and if I click on that, Odoo's going to show me my default activities. Now, these are very customizable, as well as the ability to create new ones is all at your fingertips. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create myself an activity to ask about what products she needs. And I can go ahead and save that one. And once I've gone ahead and sent that email and confirmed what product she needs, I can mark it as done, and Odoo's going to ask me if I want to write any feedback. And once I write that feedback, it prompts me to either mark it as done and finish it, or mark it as done and schedule another activity. So I'm going to say she is looking for 20 color cartridges, and I can go done and scheduled next. And I'm going to schedule a to-do for myself for tomorrow to build out the proposal. Now I can save that, and I'm ready to go ahead and move this into our qualified stage. and we're ready to start building our quotation. Odoo makes it super simple to go from an opportunity in our CRM to building a quotation for the customer. All I need to do is click on the purple New Quotation button in the top left-hand side. Clicking on this one, you'll see Odoo automatically pre-fills a lot of information for me, making my job a lot easier. I can see things like the customer information, as well as the invoice and delivery address, and my price list and payment terms already preset based on those custom-specific rules we set earlier. I also have some customizability around the quote expiration date. So let's say I might only want to give them 1 week. And I can also set things like the delivery date for if there's an expected delivery, which might be Monday, the 3rd of August at 2 p.m. I can go ahead and set that there. And now I'm ready to add my products. There's a few ways I can go about adding my products to this quotation. And the first one is by clicking on Add a Product. And I could simply go ahead and search for it, or click and it gives me a small drop down. Now this is great for someone that has a really good knowledge of all the products within the business, but sometimes if we've got new hires or people in training that aren't quite sure, one of Odoo's features called Catalog is where this comes in handy. Clicking on Catalog, it's going to give us a really simple, easy to use view of all the products we currently sell. And not only that, but it's going to show us the product image and how many we have available to sell and on hand in our warehouse at any one time. Now, I know that Alyssa was looking for 20 of our color cartridges. I can go ahead and look for them, which they are here in the top right. And I can see that Odoo is telling me that I only have 19 available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just add the 19. And once I've gone ahead and done that, I can click on back to quotation in the top left. And Odoo's automatically gone in and added that product to my quotation for me. Once I've confirmed that this is all my customer needs, and I'm ready to send my quotation out, there's a few ways I can go about getting it to them. The first way is by clicking print and getting a PDF copy if I was going to sit down with them face to face. Or alternatively, what I can do is click on send in the top left, and it's going to generate me an email to send to my customer. Now by default, you can see we've got our email template here, which is amazing, but I could customize this using our Odoo AI or other email templates that I have available. Now for me, I think this looks good and ready to send. I'm just going to add a bit of a personal touch here at the end. And now we're ready to send our quote. I can go ahead and send this directly out of Odoo, and this could be connected to my Outlook or my Gmail to send directly from my inbox. And what that means for you is when the customer replies to your email, it's automatically going to pull it back into this chatter. Now, once we've sent that to the customer, they can go ahead and open the PDF quote that was attached, or alternatively, something they get access to is our Odoo online ordering portal. Now, as we can see our highlighted sale number here in bold, if they go ahead and click on that one, they're going to be greeted with our order portal like this. Now, this gives the customer an easy to view online version of their quotation we've just sent, including all of the same information. So things like the quote date, expiration date, and our expected delivery date, as well as the customer's details and the products that they're after. One of the main benefits of using a feature like Odoo's online order portal is the real-time feedback. So if I scroll down to the bottom here, I can see I have an option to either accept and sign off on the quote, reject it, or provide feedback. Now, if I go ahead and write a message for this, I can just say, this looks great, and I can send it. Now, if I click on back to my sales mode, I can see it's now populated that message within the chatter. Jumping back to our online ordering portal, once a customer has reviewed their order and they're happy to proceed, they can click the accept and sign button here directly on the website and use Odoo's e-sign functionality directly built in to sign off. Once they sign off, we're going to be greeted with a green banner thanking us for our order, and then we're ready to proceed with the next steps of our process. Awesome. Customer now sees that their order's confirmed. Let's have a look at what's happened for us salespeople here in the back end. Jumping back into my sales app, I can now see that my sales order has been set to confirmed automatically, and OdooBot has automatically uploaded a signed copy of the quotation. Now, not only that, but there's a few things that have changed as well. I now have a create invoice button in the top left, and I have two new smart buttons directly in the center at the top for my delivery and a purchase order. Now, first things first, I want to preface that the product that I've sold here has been set to invoice on delivery. What that means is because I haven't delivered this product yet, if I go to create an invoice, Odoo is going to tell me that I cannot do that yet because I haven't delivered this product. You can set this to be invoice on delivery for some of your products and invoice on what is sold on others so that you can chop and choose how you want to create that invoice at your own time. Now that I know I need to do this delivery, what I'm going to go ahead and do is click on my delivery smart button in the top of my screen, and it's going to take me directly to my warehouse function. I can see here it's automatically populated the delivery address for where the product needs to go to, as well as the scheduled date and deadline. And I can even see that Odoo has pulled my inventory into here and showing me that my product is available. Now, let's say I'm ready to send this out. However, I've only actually gotten ready to send out 18 of my product. That should be fine, right? Let's go ahead and validate this delivery and see what happens. When validating an order, if I haven't created enough quantity to fill the demand of an order, Odoo is going to recognize that and automatically give me a warning and ask if I want to create a back order. Now, Odoo gives me two options here to proceed. I can either create a back order if I want to continue delivery for the one other product, or alternatively, I can create no back order if, for example, I may have discussed with a customer because we may have needed to use one of the products for another order. I'm going to go ahead and select no back order for today, and I can now see that my delivery has been finished. So now, using our breadcrumbs feature in the top left, I can click back to my sales order, and I can now see that my promised delivery has a fully delivered button on the right, and my create invoice is now purple and ready to be created in the top left. When creating an invoice for my customer, I have three options to do so: a regular invoice for the full amount, and two versions of down payments, both based on percentage or a fixed amount. I'm going to go ahead and create a regular invoice for Alyssa here, and we'll notice, similar to our sales order, Odoo goes ahead and automatically pulls in all of the customer's information, as well as things like their default payment terms and the delivery date. And you can see that because my product was set to invoice based on what was delivered, because Alyssa originally ordered 19, but I only delivered 18, when creating the invoice, it's only going to invoice the customer for 18 of this product. Now, once I'm happy to confirm this, I can confirm it out of draft, and similarly to our sales order, I can click on send in the top left-hand side, and I can go ahead and personalize my email here, and I can go ahead and send them a copy of the invoice. Now, this is also going to be populated in our chatter with a PDF copy attached, but they also get access to our Odoo invoicing portal. So same as last time, if we go ahead and look up in the top left, we can click on preview to get an idea of what our customer will see. So they're going to get a beautiful web version of their invoice here. They're going to see things like the taxes, their quantity, their unit price, as well as their invoice date and delivery date as well. They've got the feedback channel here where they can go ahead and ask us questions. And then when they're ready to go ahead and pay for it, they can click on pay now, fill in their payment details, and then their payment can go ahead and be processed directly here on our invoicing portal. Jumping back to our sales side, I can now see that the customer has made payment, and I can see that the invoice has been marked as in payment, and I now have some smart buttons at the top as well to show me that that payment has been confirmed. Now, jumping back to my home screen, that was a lot of work for me, and that's not something I want to have to do every day, especially not on weekends. What happens if a customer needs to contact me after hours or on weekends when my business isn't open and they need to place an urgent order? Well, that's where Odoo's customer portal comes in. So I'm logged in here as Bob Chriswood here, and I'm the owner of City Chemist. Now, City Chemist is a pharmacy based in Arundel, as we can see here, and I need to place an order on Saturday night. Now, I've logged into my Odoo portal here, and from here, there's a few different things I can see. I can see things like my payment methods, my invoices, my orders, as well as my current saved data. Now, I could go ahead and look at something like a sale order here, and we can see that Odoo, because it's linked to the data in the database, can show me whether my orders are delivered, not delivered, the total amounts, and when I ordered them. Let's go ahead and say I want to take a look at sale order number 5 here. Clicking on this one, it's going to take me to that ordering portal where I can see the status of my order. I can see that I've paid for the invoice and it was shipped out to me at the start of July. And not only that, but I can see that some of these products aren't available. This may be that it's not available on my website, or it may be out of stock. From here though, if I wanted to go ahead and place another order, I could simply hit the order again button on the left hand side, and that's going to go ahead and create a brand new sale order for me. Jumping back to our main Odoo dashboard, that's been a lot of work for me, and I want to go ahead and have a look at my dashboard to get a view of how I'm doing within the business as a whole. Jumping into our dashboards application, this is going to give us a great view of all of the data within our database in one single location. I can see things like my sales data for things like my quotations, my order numbers, revenue, and my average order cost. I can see things like my monthly sales based on revenue, top quotations, top sales orders, and more. And one of my favorite parts about this is just how customizable all this data is. As we can see currently, it's set to the last 90 days. However, if I wanted to change it to the last 7 days, you can see how much that data changes. Not only that, clicking on this field up in the middle here as well, I can set things like year to date, last 12 months, a specific year, or even my own custom range if I wanted to. Now this is the same not just for our sales, but for things like my leads within my CRM, my finance in my accounting, or even my warehouse and logistic operations. This gives business owners a really easy at-a-glance view of how their business is running day to day without having to spend time after time again waiting and configuring spreadsheets and reporting. Now that I know how my business is doing, I want to go in and have a look at my inventory in a little bit more detail. So what I'm going to do is jump into my inventory application. From here, I'm greeted with our inventory overview. Now this overview here, we can see by default shows me our receipts and my delivery orders. So my receipts is for anything incoming, maybe via internal transfers or purchase orders, and my delivery orders is anything outgoing to my customers. Now I could go ahead and click on my delivery orders here to see all of them, and I can see that I've got 3 that are ready to go out, even one that's due to go today. I can click into this one here, and it's going to go ahead and show me that I'm actually over my deadline for this delivery, but the scheduled date was changed to today, and I can see that this one is actually for Bob from City Chemist. I can see that Odoo is telling me all my products are available and ready to be shipped, so I can go ahead and validate that this has been sent to the customer, and this one is now marked as done. Now let's say I wanted to go ahead and have a look at my stock to make sure I've got enough in my warehouse to keep me going. If I go ahead and click on reporting in the top of the screen here, I can select the stock option, and Odoo is going to give me an overview of my current stock. We can see it's broken up into 4 categories, being on hand, free to use, incoming, and outgoing. Those 4 categories simply mean that on hand is anything I physically have in my warehouse, and free to use is anything I have available to sell. Incoming would be for anything I'm going to receive via something like a purchase order, and outgoing is for anything that's leaving my warehouse soon, potentially via a sale. Now this is all well and good. However, if I wanted to go ahead and take a look at something like my color cartridges here, and I wanted to look at my forecast, I can click on that, and Odoo is going to go ahead and show me what my forecast for this product is. So I can see all the way back to June when I first added this product, I had 30 on hand. Then within a few days, I sold some to go down to 23. Then I reordered more to come back up to 59. Now, not only that, we have multiple views within this field as well. So I can see things like a bar graph or even a pie chart if I want to. And if I scroll down as well, I can even see where that stock is. So I can see I've got 8 units currently reserved for this sale order, and I've got one that is one that is free stock to use. I can also see my forecasted inventory, and I can see that I've actually got 50 units that are set to come in on the purchase order number 11. So let's go ahead and have a look at what that looks like. I can either click on my purchase order there directly, or if I wanted to have a quick overview of my other purchases as well, I can jump back to my Odoo main screen, click on purchase, and from here I can see all of my purchase orders at a glance. So you'll notice within the top of the screen, I've got my dashboard overview. So that shows me things like my new, RFQ sent, late RFQ not acknowledged, and late receipt orders, as well as my percentage of orders to date and my current days to order. Now we can see purchase order number 11 here. I can go ahead and click on this one here, and I can see that it's automatically set my vendor as L'Oreal AU. It's set my currency, and I can see my current order deadline and my expected arrival. Now we can see it's automatically ordered me 50 based on my Odoo reordering rules. What I've configured here today is for my color cartridges, whenever my on-hand level in my warehouse goes below 5, Odoo's automatically going to generate me a purchase order to order another 50 more. Now, let's say I've gone ahead and I'm ready to place this order, but maybe the price seems a little different than what I'm used to. That's where Odoo's price comparison feature comes in really handy. If we go ahead and look at our smart buttons at the top, we have our price comparison smart button. Clicking on this one here, I'm going to be able to see where I've ordered my products from, what the purchase order number is, when I confirm the purchase order, who the vendor was, the quantity I ordered, and the unit price. So I can see that previously I paid $21 for the 50 from L'Oreal. When I only ordered 2, I only paid $19. And when I ordered from Cosmetica, they were a little bit more expensive per unit at $23. So the 21 seems pretty reasonable, so I'm ready to go ahead and proceed with my purchase order. Using my breadcrumbs in the top left, I can click back to the purchase order itself. And once I've spoken to my supplier, I can either send them the RFQ for them to go ahead and confirm the pricing for me, or if I've spoken to them over the phone, they've confirmed they have them in stock at the agreed price, I can go ahead and confirm it and wait for it to arrive. Once it's arrived and I've moved it into my warehouse, I can go ahead and click on the receive button in the top left here, or I can click on receipt smart button on the top of my screen. Clicking on either of those will bring me into my warehouse operation to move these into my warehouse. I can see that I'm moving it from the L'Oreal AU and it's going into my warehouse here. I can see the scheduled date and the deadline and where the delivery originated from. Once I'm happy with my purchase order and I'm happy that everything is there, I can go ahead and validate this, and this will now automatically update my inventory stock levels and show me that everything is all good. Something I forgot to mention when working on our sale order, if we look at the top of our screen here, we actually have a sale smart button. So this is because this is the sale that links us to why the purchase order was created. So because I sold the majority of the stock I had on hand that triggered the reordering rule, we can see via our purchase smart button at the top here, this is the sale order where that purchase originated from. Coming back to our home screen now, I can jump back into my inventory, click on my reporting and jump into stock, and I'm going to be able to go ahead and see that my on hand for my color cartridges is now back up to 59. That's how I run my business in Odoo day to day. So let's go ahead and recap what we've worked through so far. So some of the problems we were facing were things like a pricing bottleneck, order chaos, no real overview of my inventory, very reactive purchasing, no customer self-service portal, cash flow lags, and a lack of live reporting, to now, while using Odoo, having an automated B2B price list functionality per customer, one centralized CRM platform for all my activities, live inventory stock visibility and automated reordering rules, 24/7 business-to-business customer ordering portal, and an integrating accounting system with live reporting. Now, we do have some time for questions, so please go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Awesome. So one question we have here is, what was the product replenishment rule to get the PO linked to the SO automatically? So that's Odoo's product reordering rule, and I can show you how we've configured that within our database. So jumping back into our system here, I can either go to my sales or inventory, wherever I need to go to access my products. So I can click on products here in the top, and I can click on my product here. And let's take our color cartridges as the example. Clicking on this one here, we can see there's quite a bit of information going on, but I would want to pay attention to is the smart buttons along the top. If we look at the icon with the 2 circular arrows, we can see here I have a min of 10 and a max of 50. So by clicking on this one here, this is going to show me what my trigger is. So my trigger is currently set to auto, which means that as soon as my stock on hand drops below a minimum of 10, it's going to create that reordering rule, taking me to a maximum of 50. The reason it linked it to that sale order is because it was that particular sale order that brought my stock on hand number below that 10 threshold, so hence why I created the purchase order to retake me back up to 50. Does Odoo have the ability to automatically create a sale order itself from a purchase order emailed by a customer? It's a great question. What I think you're referring to here would be what Odoo uses our Odoo email aliases for, which is where a customer can email an email address such as sales@odoo.com, and then from there, Odoo can automatically go ahead and pull that information from the email and then draft a sale order. How would you do a ready for pickup status on the orders for when the customers are coming to pick up the orders from the warehouse/shopfront? So that would actually be done within a different application Odoo offers called Point of Sale. Within the Point of Sale app, one of the delivery methods that we can set is actually click and collect. We can do this for our e-commerce as well. It's not something I have set up in today's database, so unfortunately I can't show you firsthand what it looks like. But essentially, when a customer places their order online or with you at the till, if they're going to be picking it up at a later date, you have the option, or they have the option, to flexibly choose the time and dates based on what you set and configure within Odoo. When a customer accepts their quote, is there an opportunity for them to add their own purchase order number as a reference? So by default, they don't get the option to add a reference for the sales order. However, you can add that yourself when creating it. They could potentially either email you directly based on the email you first send them, and it will populate in the chatter, or alternatively, they could use that feedback button on the ordering portal to make you aware of a potential reference number that may need to be used going forward. What other information can we put into products? We need to manufacture and expiry dates and QR codes and barcodes. Can we have different batches of the same product marked separately? Of course. So for today's demonstration, I've kept it very simple, just having the units of our products available. However, when configuring the product, if I jump back to my database here, come back to my inventory and products, I'll notice when I click into a product here, I actually have a barcode field that I can set up. Not only that, but on the left-hand side, we can see how my inventory is tracked, currently by quantity. I could also set it to be tracked by either serial number, lot number, or batch number. So if you're working with batches, QR codes, barcodes, that is something we can set up in Odoo, and I'd be more than happy to chat further with you about it. Can I demonstrate through the point of sale module, please? Is the category for a product the same for website e-commerce and for point of sale? So unfortunately, I can't demonstrate through that application today because we don't have enough time. However, towards the end, there'll be a QR code and my email on the screen. So be able to book a demo with me where I can run you through that one-on-one to show you what it would look like for your business. In terms of the category for the product, Odoo configures its categories based on the application it's going to be used in. So whether that's the sales app, e-commerce, or point of sale, most of the configuration is the same across the board. However, obviously, depending on which app or module you're going to be using, there's a few different niche customizations that may need to be made. Can a global company have different databases under one cloud? Yes, Odoo feature for that is called multi-company. So if I jump back to my database here, where I have the business name Colorful Beauty here in the top right, I would be able to click on this and I would have a drop down of all the different companies I have access to. One of the amazing features about Odoo's multi-company is if you're the business owner, let's say you work for the global head office, you could have all of your branches sit under you. However, if you've got someone that only works in your Australia office or only in your US office, you could set the access rights so they can only see what they need to have access to. Anything helpful to know about website themes and feeding the full suite of product content out to website RRP pricing? No e-commerce needed, just catalog. Within Odoo itself, there is different configurations for the website itself. I know when using the Odoo website builder, it prompts you to configure exactly how you want your products to look like, including the product catalog. In terms of the Odoo product catalog, it is something you can go ahead and share with your customers via the online shop, but you can always set your products to out of stock, so they do have to email you to confirm things like stock availability, how they can order it, or just to place an order in general. Someone's asked how to become an implementation partner of Odoo. So Odoo actually has a partner webinar that is going to be on the 28th of July. So I'd recommend attending that one to find out a little bit more information. I do know we have a dedicated partner recruitment team here as well. So potentially you could reach out to me and I could forward your details onto them. For an e-commerce sale with click and collect as the delivery method, how do you set a ready for pickup message on these sales? So when you go ahead and configure that delivery method, one of these settings you'll have available to you is the stages of that delivery. So whether that's something like draft, ready, ready for collection, ready to put aside for collection, you have the customizability to do all of that within your own database. Would that mean you have to buy different subscriptions, or just one subscription can include other global companies too? So with Odoo, we have 3 main subscription tiers. We have Odoo Standard, which includes everything I've shown here today, which essentially gets you everything out of the box with Odoo, including our yearly upgrades and access to our support. The next one from that is our Odoo Custom plan. Odoo Custom gives you everything in Standard, plus access to the Odoo Studio tool I mentioned earlier, and that multi-company feature and a few more. And then we have Odoo SH, which gives you a lot more customization over your database. Is there a way to set up the pickup option through the inventory module? We would have to configure it as a delivery method. However, I'm pretty certain that at this time, it's only available through the point of sale app or through the e-commerce module. If we deliver directly to the customer, does the product definition need to have drop shipping route? And what if it sometimes comes first to our warehouse? Can a single product definition handle both? So it depends on the product configuration. So what I would recommend in that exact instance is if you have one product that is drop shipped directly to customers and another one that is coming to your warehouse first, I would recommend having 2 separate products for that, just so that when you configure it within Odoo, what that means for you is when confirming a sale for a dropship product, it's going to automatically send the product straight from the supplier to the customer. But when you confirm a sale order with the warehouse routed product, you're going to receive it in first, and then you're going to deliver it to the customer. How easy is it to transfer our current MyOb database to Odoo? Personally, I haven't worked with the individual transfer of MyOb to Odoo. I've had quite a few clients migrate off MyOb or Xero into Odoo itself, and I know that the data, as long as you're able to export it, our team here can work with you to help you get your database up and running quite easily. Can I elaborate on the sales alias, please, and how to set it up? So that can be done within the CRM or sales module. I can give you a brief overview here. If we jump into our CRM application, an example would be jumping into the sales button in the top right, clicking on Teams here, and then if I click the 3 dots and click on Configuration, this is where I'm going to be able to see my email alias. So for example, when someone emails info@colourful-beauty-odoo.com, it's going to go ahead and generate a new lead for me in my CRM pipeline. It would be very similar for our purchase orders, expenses, and our sale orders as well. When you validate a delivery, is that you saying that you have picked the goods and packed them ready for delivery, or should this be done after you have packed and organized the delivery? So by default, what I've shown here today, this would be as if I've gone and picked all the items, put them in the box and physically handed them to the delivery driver. I've then jumped back onto Odoo and clicked validate that my delivery has gone out. One of the options we do have available in Odoo is 1, 2, and 3-step pick pack routes. So if you do need physical checks for each step, we can set that up within the inventory module within our warehouse. So before you receive stock in or before stock goes out, you can confirm exactly what it is you're picking, where you're picking it from, making sure it's packed correctly, and then confirming that the delivery has been done. Awesome. So I think that's all we have time for in terms of questions today, guys. I really appreciate everyone joining this afternoon. If there was a question that you did have that I unfortunately couldn't answer today, feel free to go ahead and email me nado@odoo.com, or alternatively, scan the QR code on the screen now to set an appointment with myself. Thank you guys so much for joining this afternoon, and I'll see you next time.